all of a sudden it's hotting up. And I don't mean the actual weather, because whilst that's getting a little bit ridiculously warm at this stage, the Premier League in this particular year has suddenly become a 5-horse race. I'll explain a little bit more in a moment. So the fact we're sitting top isn't entirely obviously our own doing at this point. You can see obviously Manchester City and Arsenal have closed the gap on Tottenham and United as well as us. There was a point where we were a good solid 7 points clear of that 5th place. Now it's only 3. Also shout out to West Brom for actually developing this ridiculous Croatian. He came through their academy. Of course, the back-to-back draws against Chelsea and Tottenham have allowed those other teams to get a little bit of an advantage on us, but it's Tottenham and Man United who have slipped up of late. Of course, we saw the fact that Norwich beat Tottenham. I know your pain. Last time out, but Arsenal have been the ruiners. In fact, Arsenal have beaten both Manchester United and Tottenham since we last met. So that's part of the reason why they're up there as well these days. And the reason why Tottenham and Man United have slipped up. However, since we last met, we played, of course, West Ham just the 2 days after Tottenham, and that was a 2-0 victory. Grimes and Courage, the 2 players, my vice-captain and captain, who I'm questioning the first team status of. By the time you're watching this, I will have put out a teaser. I probably would have put the teaser out not long after yesterday's episode went live in regards to something that has happened since we last met. But West Ham, I'll also just quickly stick up their formation. It's ridiculous. I think they have the loneliest striker in the world. 2-0, done. 4-0, first half. Just swept Leeds away, and that one was sorted in the first half. Didn't need to worry about that one. New Year's Day. Happy New Year. So what's my birthday in game? It's wrong. It's the correct month, just the wrong day. I just bottled the day part of that. But Kovalev, who is actually now a starter after what happened against Tottenham. Vidal on 2 and Carpentier on that score sheet. Grimsby just dealt with. Full rotated side, 3-1, we'll take it. Carabao Cup semi-final, you'll be pleased to know we did not win the first leg on that, and hopefully we won't have to deal with another final in that regard. I honestly don't care anymore. Southampton 0-0, done. Simple as that. Though worth mentioning, we did... No, actually, I was about to say, we dominated. It looks more than it was just because it's 3-2 shots on target. Just a rubbish game all told. It was the Liverpool game that was in our favour. That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, we did get slightly FM now, I look at that. But I don't care. The Liverpool game that does matter comes now. And if we put in the same performance and just don't let in the goals today, we should be alright. Of course, Shaunan's still away on international duty. Now, you can also see another name directly above my head that says ineligible just because of registration stuff that's going on right now. Medina might be going out on loan, which will solve this ineligible player, who I will actually be registering once Medina does go out on loan. Claudel, I did mention him last time out. He is a central defender. He was part of last year's youth intake sniping. Probably one of the best terms for it. His leadership's not great, but you can see the reason why he was on my radar. Obviously, he wasn't anywhere near as good as this when we nabbed him last year, but he was showing the signs of it. I'm glad this one's worked out, considering he's the first of the foreign ones to have come in. Tackling, marking, sensational. Heading is good. Jump and reach pretty good as well, 191 centimetres. He is left-footed, which is an irritatingly common thing these days. I don't know why. His contract's also quite high for someone. I basically went, yes, yep, on whenever I do these youth things, because most of the time it doesn't really matter. Claudel, I think, may have been one of the most developed, mostly because obviously he was about 17 and a half at the time. So he obviously wanted a little bit more, but 30 grand a week for a squad player in our squad is good. Medina's on slightly more, so it kind of gives you an indication of that kind of thing. And of course, the other player we brought in now, if you've been paying attention to my Twitter, you may have worked it out by now. You can see it on my page. You can see it on the right hand side. Scot Parkinson is here. Mr. Operation Upset Scot Parkinson worked. A lot of people went in for him. Not gonna lie, because he got transfer listed at 25.5 million. I paid it. Everyone else tried to get a little bit cheeky and wanted to offer a little bit less than that. I just went, yes, 25.5 million. You can have that. I've got plenty in my budgets right now. You can have 25.5 million. Not bothered. But you can sort of see why he is very much the ball player. And weirdly, ignore the star rating. It's one of those occasions where I will say ignore the star rating. His potential ability doesn't have a lot more to grow in, but I don't really need him to. It's one of those occasions where I do say ignore the star ratings. I was never fully convinced by Courage's star rating in particular. Rick, similar boat. He's not that much better. I don't understand why he's a full star. It's sort of the top end of the mentals, in particular for Rick, and actually some of the lower end of the mentals for Rick. That does give him that little bit of an edge. But Rick's a right-sided player. Is Courage the one you kind of have to compare him to? Yes, Courage has the physical edge. Yes, again, the top end of those mentals. But the bottom end of those mentals for Sean, I don't know why I just first named him, were always the things I was very, very critical of, and particularly his technicals. And if you compare him to his countrymen, you can sort of see they're quite similar in general, so I don't really understand why Courage is a full star better. I feel like that's a lot of that physical bias when it comes to stars and reports. Physical ratings do seem to get factored in way more than any of the other sections. You can see obviously he's a lot faster and a bit better mentally overall. It's those top ends working there. But Scott's vision's better, technical and aerials are even on paper apparently, and defending's better for Parkinson, which really as a defender is the main thing. If you bob it on attributes, you can sort of see why, yeah. Mentals on this end, better for Sean, but the defending stats here, much better to Scott overall. And of course the ball playing aspects as well, better for Scott too. Long throws is something that Sean does have in his locker, although he should not really be taking them considering he's a central defender. Anyway, I feel that was quite a long explanation for a single player, but considering how long Sean's been with us, considering how well he's rated, I kind of felt it was necessary to explain that one a little bit more, because on paper, getting another defender in doesn't seem sensible. But then again, you have been dealing with half a season of me questioning whether Coleridge is actually meant to be a first-team player. Everton are coming from Medina, by the way, on loan, so that should open the registration spot for Claudel. Obviously, I had an under-23 registered who was obviously never anywhere near at this stage, which allowed Scot Parkinson to get registered without any issues. He's not kicked off, so that's all fine. A couple of players moaning about playtime. Grimes, Castillo, all of them did exactly the same thing as Real Madeira did yesterday. So, always helpful. By the way, Kovalev, he's gone back behind again, but he's just popped off of late. I don't know, development-wise, he's just popped off. And after the mistakes of Castillo and Saxton, he's been playing my first choice left-back, and his ratings back it up. He's had 2 goals as well. There's a few players wanted as well, which, particularly Coleridge, if they go in for the transfer fee, the release fee, I'll let them have him. Well, I have no choice, obviously, if they get the release fee, but you know what I mean. I won't be mad, is what I'm trying to say. Madeira is also wanted. But we are going to play our first 11 that is available, as I see it. Christian has also had a nice little run in the first team of late too, and I'm sticking with him for the time being. Actually, nope, he's developed. He's just popped off as well. I did not look at him for about a month, and he's suddenly better. I'm specifically training command of area, by the way. That's part of the reason for that. Yeah, that's his one weak spot, in my opinion. Okay, you stay in there then. Thought it might take more than half a season for him to usurp Baxter, but it's already happened. So yeah, Christian is in goal. Kovalev we've already explained. Azarta and Rick in the middle. They're still the best 2 options for that central defence. Although Rick's been moaning about wages. I offered him a contract. He didn't want it. So that's your fault there, Rick. Simpara on the right, while Shaunan's on international duty for Asian Cup or whatever it is. Vidal and Seri in the middle. Carpentier continues on the left-hand side of the attacking midfield with Vidal and Cantoro. And Silva starts up front today because Godoy has been atrocious of late. I've also only been starting positively in recent games rather than the attacking. And good God, I've had a fan on all day and I've just turned it off to record because obviously noise. Whew. Now, the benefit, of course, of having played them and lost to them in the Carabao Cup semi-final is the fact I get to say, get revenge today. Fire them up. I feel like there's been a lot of explanation in the first half of this video, but it's one of those occasions where I kind of feel like it's necessary. Like a lot of the time, some decisions in Football Manager sort of explain themselves. Sometimes you have to, wow, he smacked that. Almost got on the rebound. Mostly because Becker can't move anymore. Of course, Tottenham in the second game today will set the marker for who ends up leading. What was that back pass? I mean, you've committed Alisson Becker there, a 38-year-old Alisson Becker who might take half a year to get back into that goal there. He's there now, he's good, he's fine. Played it back to Trent and woof, almost intercepted again. There's weird back passes going on this Liverpool side so far. And we've smothered Palacios, I think it was there. Carpentier coming forward. Finds, nope, has not found anyone. Simpara nips on that. Vidal turns and scores. I actually wasn't expecting Vidal to score there. I thought he was about to lay it off for, I'm presuming it was Silva in the middle. The fact this ends up in our possession somehow is remarkable. Simpara just, mugs Chris Carollo there, and somehow, whilst McGee is in his face, Vidal smacks it into the back of the goal, and that's his 5th of the season. Of the attacking line, he's been the one not really picking up the goals. Has today. Now, he often turns up in these ones that really matter. Of course, turned up in that FA Cup final. Carabao Cup final, I think it was, against Chelsea. Basically, usually against Chelsea, actually. Carpentier not doing particularly well today. Vidal not doing particularly well. I can see there are no more highlights, which I'm fine with at this stage. It's been all York so far as we kick off the highlight with another shot. But yeah, we've restricted them to just a 1 shot in total and 0 on target. Now, this one looks like it might be a chance for them, and I'm panicking. Nope, that's dealt with once, but obviously possession goes straight back to them because tackles in FM20. Blatt's going to have a chance. Esposito's going to miss, thankfully. You know, I'm kind of happy with the highlightless game after all the rambling at the start of this episode. Keeps it down in length. But Arsenal on 6.4, though, is not going to stand. You know, Grimes, you've been moaning about game time of late. Now's your chance. Also, Ramirez for Carpentier. And we get to 82 minutes without another highlight. Rick to Simpara. Simpara maintains the possession there. He was tackled, I think, but he managed to get away with Silva. Nope. Silva. Nope. Oh, it's just a good block. We wait all that time and it's a block highlight, for the love of God. All right, Godoy on for the last few, I think, is probably the most sensible thing to do. And send him off out again. And if I could, I would actually go back to balance right now while they're on very attacking. You can see behind here. I still don't understand why they've not... I know Becker is technically and mentally still sensational, but he has like 3 pace. Jordan Pickford retired, by the way, or has chosen to retire at the end of this year. Who are obviously nowhere near as good as Becker to start with, but in a similar boat. But he has been replaced by Man United with Paulo Cesar. We've seen that. Oh, I'm so glad that one just... I just watched that silently in horror there. Just come off our positive nature right now because they are assaulting us right now and Kovalev's been butchered. Of course he has. Our defensive line, look at those ratings. Thigh injury. Well, I have no one else, so... I mean, it's literally 30 seconds of injury time this is going to matter for. And there we go. 1-0. Efficient. Done. A red thigh injury to Kovalev is probably one of the worst things that could happen if we didn't have 2 other left backs. Now, that's a very, very good win. Like, if we're going to win at Anfield, that was the match I needed to do. Oh, sorry, I just ruined Guardiola's birthday. 3 to 4 weeks, hamstring strain. That's... ah, God. Could get through the Tottenham match. I mean, whilst I don't trust the other 2 left-backs, there's no real necessity to do this. Do actually have to pay Schalke some decent money. Good God, Leeds and Newcastle fought out a good one there, didn't they? Blimey! There was 5 goals after the 79th minute. They're 3-2 Newcastle are panicking. By the way, in case you were wondering, obviously we managed to just acquire Scot Parkinson. The other one I mentioned over the course of this year, Billy Clark, who's not really playing all that much for Man United, has just signed a new contract, though irritatingly, and has bumped up his wages dramatically to a point that we probably wouldn't be able to compete if we wanted to sign him, which is super irritating. I wish I'd unsettled him before he did that contract thing. Because before, I think he was on about 70 grand a week or something like that, which would have been, with the inflation of him coming to us, his expectations, probably, as I felt, would be in like the 120-30 range, which would have been acceptable enough. Now he's probably going to want about 180, 190, so no. Depending on what our budgets are at the end of the year, of course, that might change. If we start getting wage budgets on par with those guys at the top, then yeah, sure. Right, there goes Medina. Manchester City have bought David Curvo for 184 million. Pretty certain that's the biggest deal I've seen go through. There might have been bigger ones. Oh, one thing I did mention, by the way, FA Cup 4th round is against Portsmouth. So whilst we're actually being given a nice, easy run, it's at the worst time because we've won it once and we've been to 2 finals in a row. So again, not too fussed about the FA Cup final, although obviously that is less intrusive. Today is a massive day, by the way. Manchester City versus Manchester United, 3rd v 2nd as things stand. 1st v 4th, us versus Tottenham. And Arsenal plays Southampton, a team who have been near the top of in recent years, but not doing too well this year. I mean, that just hurts. Kovalev gets in Team of the Week. So whilst the Tottenham game is only a few days later, everyone is pretty much fit. I'm just going to reward Grimes with a starting position because A, he wants them, and B, 6.4 last time out for Dawson, not necessarily the message I want to be sending is okay. I know it's only 1 game, but rotating a few people every now and then, particularly in January, is not a bad idea, I find. Otherwise, everything is fine, apart from, of course, the enforced change at left back, where Castillo will come in. Otherwise, everything is exactly the same. My Team Talk options there actually advise me that Tottenham's form puts them 11th in the form table, which says a lot about how this title challenge is unfolding at this point in time. They've scored a free kick. That's helpful. And despite the fact they started the day in 4th, they find themselves in 1st. Which is crazy. Great goal, though. It's a great, great free kick. 3 teams on 53 points, with 52 on Man City and 49 with Arsenal isn't that far behind either. The rest of the pack, out of it. Newcastle, I did mention them on a bit of a run. They've found themselves in 8th now, on the same number of points as Chelsea and Liverpool, in fact. Obviously demand a little bit more from our side here. It's a long throw from us. You know how dangerous these we can be. Grimes will get this loose ball and cycle it out to Castillo, back to Azata, all the way back to Christian, and we'll probably start this move essentially entirely afresh. Are both my centre-backs booked already? I think they might be, you know. You may notice I just switched the 2 defend cover roles just because Rick is preferred cover and Azata can do both. So no real necessity to have them the wrong way around there. Oh, Fidel just lashes that one wide. Yeah, I do now have 4 strong left feet in my defensive options. And 1 right, which is honestly the complete opposite of what I normally find in Football Manager. I normally have trouble finding the left-footed defenders. Now I've got 4. For now, Cantoro scored. Speaking of left-footed players, Cantoro. And we're back to 1-1, and we're back to the top 4 being 54, 53, 52, 51. It's a shame that Arsenal cannot actually get exactly 50 points today, just to make that even more neat. But Cantoro, their heads from the far post, actually quite a long way out. Excellent header. That somehow eludes Onana. And we go into half-time 1-1, doing pretty much in terms of shots on target, twice as much. Right, everyone's fired up for this second half, and let's see that in action. Wait, hang on. I didn't intentionally do this, but my cursor just rested on their central defender who I can't pronounce. He reminds me of Courage so much. Something's happening in the box. I don't know what's going on. Oh god, Sembudok's charging through, and well, Castillo's just decided to tap him and then run away. It's not tag, Ariel. What happened there? He sort of went towards him, and then as soon as he got close to him, just ran away. Godoy for silver. Carpentier, it's on the same really, isn't he? Ramirez off. Ramirez on, I should say. Grimes has had a word and a booking at the start of this particular highlight, which is a free kick for them as a result. York's former man. I mean, Ben Godfrey's got to be 32, 33 at this point. Parrott's, I mean, it paused there for a second. Wait, did Ponce start this match? I didn't even pay attention to that. 6.4 from him. That's not unusual. And yes, I do have Tom Jones playing in my head now. I'm actually going to bring Vidalson on for Vidal today, just because Vidal... I feel like Vidal's rating just jumped up from a 6.5 to a 6.8 as I made that change. Oh well, he's coming off anyway. It looks like things have squared themselves up in the Man United game again as we just pop back to first place. Can we maybe put a tackle in on Parrott? Well, at least he didn't score. Last few minutes just demand a little bit more. I'm actually going to come off attacking. It's not like it's going to make any difference whatsoever, but Onana's got this free kick here. Free kick? Goal kick. I know words. I know how football works. Onana doesn't. What was that? Anyway, it gives us a long throw, though, as a result. Doesn't get anywhere. That's a shame. Surrey gets the knock on, and we're 10 seconds from the whistle here, theoretically. And this might end up as a 1-1 draw. I mean, 4 points from those 2 games, particularly 3 at Anfield, is more than acceptable in my opinion. Godoy heads wide, and that's all over. Second half, a little bit dull, really. Onana makes his 550th career league appearance. Good God. Must be getting on a bit now as well, surely. Yeah, he's 34. Not bad. Physically still okay, actually, particularly for 34. And just double checking, Ben Godfrey is indeed 33. Physically fantastic for 33. Not good enough. It is not good enough. Just 5 shots on target. I'm not happy with that. Chelsea take the game in the 92nd minute after scoring in the 88th and equalising in the 91st. Good God. That's a game. And they ended up 3-3. I didn't see what the result was. That popped us back to the top, but it was 3-3. Wow. So draws for literally everyone at the top, pretty much. And I didn't even realise Newcastle were playing Liverpool, in fact. So this fight for 6th and 7th is actually also incredibly interesting. Probably argue everyone down to Norwich. I'd probably say Norwich at this point. Obviously, unless West Ham or West Brom have a charge on that, they're contenders. But Chelsea, Liverpool, Everton, Newcastle, Norwich fighting out for 5th and 6th at this stage. Meanwhile, 5 people... Yeah, I still say those top 5 in it for the title itself. So exciting this season. Exciting. Yeah, they get 7 million, whatever. The likely talking points, your reaction to the match. That's generally how post-match press conferences work, I find. But of course, we really don't care about the Carabao Cup at all. So there's a temptation not to bring you the first leg of the Real Madrid Champions League match, despite the fact that this is my priority this year. Because obviously we play Chelsea and Man United in the league directly after that. They're both super important games. And then, of course, we'll have Real Madrid and Arsenal on the other side of things. Oh well, either way, I think that's probably going to be the plan. Chelsea and Man United next time out, Real Madrid and Arsenal the time out after that, and we'll see you for both those. By the way, just thank you again, just a general thank you for following this series through. I'm still at a point in time, particularly as we're approaching 150 episodes. It seems to be a weird time to do it, but I'm actively trying to improve these episodes in quality in general and things like that. I feel like there's been improvements. I'm hoping you're noticing them too. I'm hoping it's working in your opinion as well. So thank you thank you in general. Now, I appreciate those guys who watch and constantly like the video, constantly comment on the videos. You guys are all very much appreciated. Until next time, ta-ra.